thank you for joining me. A great spring project is making a birdhouse. So I hope you enjoy the video. Please give a like to the video and subscribe. Let's get started. When I sat down to build the birdhouse, I decided to add a bird feeder to the side of the birdhouse. So I went to Fusion 360 and I designed the actual birdhouse, and I did a separate design to add the feeder. On the screen, I'm sharing my dimensions on how big I made the birdhouse and also the feeder. I have a plasma CNC table, so that's what I'm going to use to cut out the birdhouse. You could always take the measurements and draw it on your metal and use a cutoff wheel and cut this out pretty easily. I'm using my YesWelder versus CT2050 on my CNC table to cut out the birdhouse. The CT2050 is a 7-in-1 multi-function welder, and it's available on the YesWelder website. The way I designed this birdhouse is to be spot welded together. So most of the sides I designed it to have an extra ½ inch on the sides I need this weld. So I'm using a homemade bender and I'm bending all my tabs. I'm going to use a metal hole punch to create holes so I can use them to spot weld the pieces together. For the smaller bends, I'm using these handheld vice grip benders. They do pretty good work with it. So with everything bent, I cleaned up all my pieces. I have 2 pieces for the middle and the bottom. I have 2 end pieces. I have a front and back. I have the feeder sides and a feeder tray. The small tabs you see are to hold the roof on. The 16th inch rods are to make a little stand for the bird to sit on in front of the openings. The rings I ended up not using, and in fact the front piece I redesigned to make it bigger, and I 3D printed an insert for the opening because I was worried that the birds could cut themselves on the sharp metal. So what I'm using here is a metal punch. This is so I can spot weld all my pieces together. You could use a drill bit, but this makes it cleaner and faster. I measured 1 inch below the hole. I drilled with a 16th inch drill bit for the 16th inch rod for the holder for the birds to sit on in front of each hole. With everything ready, the next thing to do is use some clamps, hold the pieces in place, and start welding. The welder I'm using today is my YesWelder Versys DP200. It does MIG, flux core, DC TIG, and stick. It's dual voltage, and it also has a spot welding feature, which is awesome. What you see me doing here is grabbing those tabs that I made, and I'm going to weld them onto the sides. And this is to hold the roof on. I'm going to put on a time lapse for you so it speeds it along a little bit. With the birdhouse all welded together, next thing to do is to cut out the roof panels. I'm going to cut out a piece for the actual roof and bend it in half. Then the next piece I'm going to cut out is the roof section above the feeder. I found this 1.25 inch corrugated project panel. It came in a section of 3 feet by 2 feet from my local box store. I welded the roof on using the tabs that I welded on earlier. With the roof welded on, everything is done. I drilled a couple holes on the edge of the roof and put a string in to hang it up. The next thing to do is wait for the birds to show. So what I did was I set up a camera to hopefully capture a bird going into the birdhouse. And this is what I have on my first night. So apparently I made a deer house. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give the video a like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.